Hey, I'm Daniel Norton here in my studio in New York City with Erica.
Hi.
And today we're going to talk about diffusing the light and also making it softer. So we talk about this a lot, the idea that like the larger the light source is softer. And we talk about diffusion sometimes, and a lot of times they overlap and it can be a little confusing. So I'm going to basically build up a few different common lighting scenarios and show you how both diffusing the light by putting it through diffusion, of course, and by bouncing it, and also just the size of the light itself will change the shape and feel and softness of the light. So we're going to start off with kind of the classic setup, which is a softbox. This is a Profoto B1x and a Chimera Pro II Softbox, kind of the small size as they call it, which is basically a 2 foot by 3 foot, kind of the standard softbox, if you will. I'll put it kind of here. This seems about right. You know, normal softboxy position, right? If you look on the box that came with your softbox, it probably has this. That's not true. I don't know if it does or not. I got my softbox so long ago that I don't have the box anymore. I have the softbox, I don't have the box. All right, so I'm going to use my light meter, and we're going to take some meter readings.
Meter me up.
Meter her up. So we're going for like an F8 vibe. If we can get it. All right. Oh, look at you. F8-ish. All right, let's see what we got. I'm tethered into capture one as always. We'll take a shot and see what it looks like. Yeah, there we go. We can see nice, pretty, soft light. Oh, I do like that dress. It's sparklish. You know, you can tell it's soft by the shadow edges, how it wraps around nicely. You know, but it's still directional. You know, that's one of the things that's nice about a softbox, right? It's soft but directional. So we'll shoot a couple like this because, you know, we set it up. Nice and simple. Ooh, double tab there. Good. Nice. Easy, right? Softbox is great. It's one of those things that, little smile there, you know, that we use all the time and it works really well. But let's talk about making the light bigger. So we could, this window, we could, of course, move those box closer. That will make it bigger, but that's pretty much as close as we're going to get it if we're going to still get as much of Erica as we want in the shot. So let's go to a different size modifier. Okay, so I switched out the softbox for a 4 foot silk by Chimera. We use these a lot. You know, 2 foot by 3 foot. This is 4 foot by 4 foot. So those math experts in the audience will tell us how much bigger it is, but it's a much larger source, right? It's going to do a few different things. Number one, it's going to be softer, of course, but it's also going to spread the light out more, right? The larger the source is, the more it's going to spread it out. So that's something to keep in mind. But for this particular illustration, we're mostly concerned with how it affects, you know, Erica and the shadows on her face and all that. So let's take a look. All right, we have it metered again, same thing, F8. Let's frame it up. Let's see, get a test, we'll see if we like it. Oh yeah, there we go, right? Perfect. All right, so we've got, oh God, okay, we have like, look at 2 smiles. We have sassy and smiley. Right? But like, you know, you've got, again, it's soft, look at the shadow transition, but look at, there's like more depth and more shadow here. Here, it's big and open, right? I mean, the side of her face is still the shadow, it's just much, much more reduced. I mean, you can see it even more on her arm clearly. But you look at this arm, how much darker it is. And that has to do with what I often call a wraparound, and then the scientists in the audience are always like, light doesn't wrap around, it moves in a straight line. Yes, yes it does. So, yeah, but what we mean is that the light's going around your subject, it's kind of wrapping around, right? And because it's bigger, also this is diffuse, right? So when the light hits this, it's scattering everywhere. It's bouncing off the ground, it's bouncing off the walls, it's kind of just, it's all over the place. So the larger source, and this would be true if I had a huge softbox too, I just didn't have a huge softbox to use. The main difference between using a silk like this and let's say the same equivalent size softbox would be the softbox is gonna have a little more edge control. You know, this one, I've got the bare head, so it's kind of scattering a bit, but let's shoot a few like this. So we have the really clean ones. Okay, let me get my focus spot here, here we go. Oops, good. 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 Pretty, pretty, pretty. Yeah, easy, right? Nice and easy, just like the other one. Always clean, always pretty, you know. Nice. This is really sweet. Now, if you are If you want an even more kind of encompassing light that's going to spread out even more, I mean, if you think it's going to be even softer, this is going to be, what we're going to do is instead of just shooting our light through the diffusion and letting it do all the work, I'm going to bounce it in first. This would be a similar effect that you might get in when you see the inverse banks like that Elechrome makes, where it's like a big octagon and you shoot into it first and then it bounces out and goes through the diffusion. It's going to create a similar vibe here. And I've bounced stuff off walls and off V-flats and off things before, but not in this combination. So I'll show you how that really makes a difference in the next setup. Okay, so for this last one, what I've done is I've added a V-flat here, and I'm bouncing the light. So my light is actually facing away from the silk, bouncing into the V-flat. Now I have a very large source, right? Bouncing, which is diffusing it, right? Bouncing the light diffuses it, hitting the diffusion panel, which is diffusing it even more, and we're going to get even more wraparound. So let's see what this one looks like. Again, we're shooting at the same f8 exposure. I just adjusted the power of the light to compensate. Yeah, and we can see this one has almost like a more like brighter kind of boom feel. It's got this really, really natural vibe going on. And we can see, you can even see in the eyes how like this catch light is much more directional, where this one seems to bounce all around because the light's bouncing everywhere, right? When we do this, what we're getting is the light is hitting the V-flat. The V-flat, of course, is not blocking everything. So some of the light's going scattering the room. So this one creates a much more kind of organic look and very, very bright and open. Like kind of you're like in a brightly lit ballroom, you know, for the pageant. Sorry. Good. More. Good. Right there. Okay, perfect. All right, and I have it zoomed in as always. I like to zoom in while we're doing. Why not? Yeah, nice and bright, right? So we see the difference, right? We've got the soft light, right? And then we have softer, and then we have the softest light, right? Bigger size makes a difference. Diffusing it also helps because it helps flatten it and it allows you to add some shape and contrast without getting that specular highlight that blows out. Because remember that the softness is your shadows, the diffusion is your highlight in a sense. So if you have something that is both soft and very diffuse, you'll get a nice creamy, even shot, which will be really nice. It minimizes any retouching that you might have to do. Not that Erica would ever need retouching, but you know, if you needed that. Because the light itself is just such a wraparound, beautiful light. So I will put Erica's information in the description for you guys to follow her. Go ahead and follow me, Daniel Norton Photographer. Be sure to subscribe to Adorama TV and ring the bell to get all notifications. And I'll see you next time on set.